When I'm at a race and I see a team that's struggling, I have this thing I always say, and that's, you're not gonna come in last. And that's because it's really hard to come in last.
Unless you're racing a Nash Metropolitan.
If you don't know the Nash Metropolitan by name, you definitely know it by sight. It's this cute little car built in England with an engine from an MG with a body designed by an American refrigerator company. It's also been featured in some of the best films ever.
I'm a miserable, worthless hunk of slime.
So clearly a movie star car with refrigerator provenance is a great choice for Lemons, and since the Metropolitan just does meet our 82-inch wheelbase minimum, Cheesy Beard's Revenge in California decided to bring their Metropolitan to Thunderhill in 2017.
And wouldn't you know it, they looked like they were struggling. And that's where I show up and give them those encouraging words. You're not gonna come in last. And guess what?
They did.
Yeah, in that race, they actually did get the car running.
Did they?
But they never actually completed a lap and thus finished 129th place out of 129 entries. And this was just as sad for us as it was for them.
Was it?
Because when we see a car like this, we know it has a good chance of winning the top prize in Lemons, the Index of Affluency, essentially doing the best with the lowest performance car.
The team returned to Thunderhill a year later and completed 36 laps with the fastest lap that was the slowest of the entire race by 40 full seconds, and finished 113th out of 120, not last. Defeating 7 cars in an endurance race in a Nash Metropolitan is a big accomplishment, but it didn't quite rise to the level of Index of Effluency. The award for that particular event went to a stock automatic first-gen Honda CR-V that finished 58th.
And while we hoped the team would take another crack at it with the Nash, we didn't see the car again for another 5 years until it showed up at Buttonwillow in 2023. This time, the Nash was with a new team, the Argonauts Awful Space team out of Berkeley.
Team captain Jason owns the Argonaut Garage there in Berkeley, and they've built this excellent MGB for the Gambler 500. And once they came over to Lemons, they played it safe with a Miata and then later a Toyota Yaris.
Now, despite going with a couple of safe and admittedly smart vehicle choices, the Argonauts were fully in the Lemon spirit, coming up with a great office space theme.
I believe you have my stapler.
Still, there was that one thing that was obviously missing, a really stupid car. So before Buttonwillow 2023, Jason and the team acquired the original Cheesy Beard's Revenge Nash Metropolitan with the hopes of exceeding the team's previous top finish of 113th and maybe even challenging for the IOE.
And when the team acquired the Nash, it came with a bunch of spare parts, but maybe the best spare part of them all was legendary Lemons driver and multiple season points champion Neil Losi. He had been part of the original Cheesy Beard team, and he came with the car to drive it with Argonaut. According to Neil, the first 2 Cheesy Beard races were plagued with flexing push rods.
Is that a thing?
Locking brakes, and that one time when the engine completely came apart at the seams.
And it exploded.
With Neil on the team, the Metropolitan was re-themed as the Neapolitan and hit the track at Buttonwillow in 2023, hoping to erase the memories of those past misfortunes.
And it exploded.
Hardware-wise, there really weren't a whole lot of significant changes from the previous race. The exploded MG engine was replaced with a non-exploded MG engine. The suspension was stock, not a lot of tuning parts available. 15-inch wheels from the team's Yaris were mounted with adapters and fitted with 175/55 rubber. The most exotic parts were the custom adapters that allowed them to run disc brakes from a 1996 Nissan Sentra.
The main objective at Buttonwillow was keeping the car alive. The car's tachometer was marked with a giant cover that said no. Jason admits that getting passed by every other car in the race was initially demoralizing, but then, as every other driver that passed them gave them a friendly wave as they went by, it made Jason and the team realize everybody was rooting for them.
As is almost always the case, being slow and steady is way better than being fast and crashy, and by the end of the Buttonwillow weekend, the Nash had completed over 500 race miles, defeating many BMWs and Miatas, and scoring the team's first, and Neil's 21st, Index of Affluency prize.
So, if you're ever at a race, and I come by and I say, you're not gonna come in last, well,
You might.
But you might also have the potential to win the top prize in the whole series.
Every second you don't subscribe or watch one of these videos, another Vega is sent to the crusher. Won't you help us save Classic?